Here I was thinking that I'm being professional, that I'm building trust, that I'm following the sales advice, that the call is going to end well. But at the end of the sales call, I'm hearing, sounds good, but not right now. Maybe later. I'm interested, but I need to think about it. Let me get back to, I would leave the sales call wondering why they weren't buying until I looked in the mirror and realized that I was the one turning them away. So I used to leave sales calls super confused because at the top of the sales call, there was such excitement and interest in people working with me. But it ended up that they wouldn't buy from me. And I didn't know what was the problem until I realized that I was doing this one thing or demonstrating this one thing that was actually repelling premium value clients. And what was I doing? I was needy. Now, I didn't realize I was coming off as needy, but my behaviors and my energy, my essence was saying needy, 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 needy. And what happens is needy is creepy. It repels people. So if you are struggling with why aren't people buying, they're showing up on the sales call telling me that they've binge watched my YouTube videos, they've listened to all of my podcasts, they've been following me for years, they know that I can help, they've been referred to me by others, but they're not buying. It's possible that you too are the one because you are being needy. And I'm going to share with you 3 ways that your neediness is showing up in the sales call and what you can do to change it. But first, if you want to learn the 7 biggest money mistakes that I see female entrepreneurs make that keep them from millions, you want to know, how can I raise my fees without feeling guilty or working more? Then make sure to grab my brand new training. Just go to the description box and you'll get instant access plus a bonus workbook. We got to first talk about what was driving the neediness. Now, this was happening on the unconscious and subconscious level, and it was the poverty spirit that underneath my words and my actions and my behaviors were, I'm not enough. There isn't enough. I don't have enough. Can I really get paid to do what I love to do, what is easy and natural for me? Am I really the one that will help them achieve these results? Is God really, can I trust God and what he said? Am I enough? All of this was happening on the subconscious and unconscious. And so it was showing up in how I showed up. It was my inner world was reflecting in my outer world by the words that I used, the behaviors that I took, my essence, everything, until I got a handle of it. And so here's 3 areas. I just want to lay the foundation, where you can say, am I having those thoughts? Am I wrestling with those thoughts also? If you said yes, it's not uncommon. And this is why perhaps you are repelling premium value clients and attracting the clients that you actually don't desire to work with. One is, I was overly excited. I was so excited, this overly excited energy, right? I was like, oh my God, right? High pitch. And so you want to ask yourself, have I showed up on sales calls and sales presentations where my energy is not really matching theirs, right? There isn't a match. I'm more excited than they are. And that overexcitement, it can come off as being needy. Now, if you have high energy, that's fantastic. And we know we want to show up as high energy because high energy brings a high income. But it's really taking a perspective to be aware of where's their energy, which is going to the second point, because we should be able to sense, is this client, what we should be doing is this actually someone that I'm interested in working with, right? The and that's what we do in the qualifying process. So number one, like the energy match, right? Are you like overly excited? Like you're so used to bringing all the emotional energy and doing all the emotional lifting and doing all the motivation that you're forgetting, as I learned in coaching school with the Coaches Training Institute, that they're creative, resourceful, and whole. And you want to make sure that they have the emotional capacity to do what's going to be required for them to achieve their goals. And so now we can go into point two, which is qualification. This is when I didn't have a qualification process, right? Like I wasn't qualifying people who were expressed interest in working with me. And that's what the qualification process, it's a two-way street. It's for the potential client to see if they're a right fit for the offer and they want to be evaluating you. And for you to evaluate the potential client, seeing, can they pick up what I have to lay down? Are they ready? Are they truly a right fit for this offer? I mean, let me ask you a question. And it's funny now, but there would be people who would submit a form that I could tell that they weren't ready, but I would still have a conversation with. Why? Like, why waste my time and their time? And so that's where my neediness showed up in lack of qualifications and not truly qualifying them, either prior to the sales call, which is so critical. And any premium value client can appreciate that. They can appreciate the boundaries and the guidelines that are in place. And those who can't, well, like, let's say goodbye initially. Like we can be friends. You don't want to follow my guidelines. You don't want to follow my application process, my qualification process. We can be friends and operate separately. Like, run. So making sure that there is a qualifying process and actually having a process in place and use systems to qualify a lead and not being afraid to say, this is not a fit. Thank you so much. It's been nice getting to know you, but based on what you've shared with me, this is not a fit. Whether that needs to happen before the call or it needs to happen during the call. See, when I was operating in that unconscious poverty, lack, I'm not enough, there's not enough, I don't have enough, it's like, oh my God, like, I'm just excited that I'm getting on a sales call. I'm just excited that someone's interested. Well, that's actually not the time to be excited. I mean, that's great. Someone's interested, but is it the right fit? Is it someone that you believe you can help achieve their goals? And it would be fun to do, not you dragging, pulling, convincing, or them being a high paying headache to you and your team. Number one, being overly excited, not matching the energy. Like you're ready, geared up to carry the emotional load, and two, not qualifying to make sure that they are a fit for you. It's like you're leaving yourself out. And then the third thing is being too accommodating. I could remember when I got past this and when someone brought up a concern, like this is how, a concern in how often we met, or concern, a legitimate concern, like how often would there be meeting and the access. And me, like, this is how it works. This is how often we're meeting. This is that. Because I'm not trying to build a bear, right? Like, this is the offer and this is the program because I know it works. Prior to that, it's like, oh, sure. Okay, well, I've never done that before, but sure, I could do this, knowing like I'm not interested in doing that. And I particularly remember when I had stopped showing up as needing and being very clear about, like, if you are going to need someone to send you text messages daily and weekly, like motivation, this is not the program for you. This is not going to be a fit. But prior to that was mending and molding and bending. Again, needy behaviors that actually repel premium value clients and attract those who are not a right fit. Overly excited, like you're more excited than they are, right? Ding, 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 to you not qualifying and being prepared to let someone know this is not a right fit. Nice to meet you, excited for what you have going on, but this would not be a fit because you know this is not someone who's a fit for the program or someone that you would enjoy working with. And 3, you bending and molding and shaping your guidelines, your rules, your processes, your procedures just to get the sale, which ultimately would be a headache not only for you, but your team. And what did it require for me to stop demonstrating these behaviors that were sabotaging the sale? That I needed to get to the heart of the matter and shift from operating from a poverty, lack, scarce mindset on the unconscious and the subconscious, and instead get in alignment with abundance, the abundant life that is my birthright as a disciple of Christ. Listen, I'd love to hear from you before. Maybe you can say ouch, maybe you can say amen. Have you ever found yourself showing up as needy on a sales call and it caused the client to or prospect to say, no, thank you? It's a safe community. Let me know. I'd love to hear below. Okay. And for those who are ready, if you're ready and you're like, listen, I'm ready to own my value. I'm ready to attract premium value clients who love investing at the highest level and love paying in full. I want to learn how to close sales simply. I'd like to have one of those one call close experiences for my 4 or 5 or even 6-figure offer in one sales call that Althea talks about. You got to learn how to position your offers and yourself like a pro. And I have opportunity right now for you and I to work one-on-one in my position like a pro coaching program. Go ahead to the description box and secure your spot today. Okay. Can't wait to hear from you. Continue the conversations below. Okay. Bye for now. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified when we release a new video. Then click the TV to watch the next video. Go to altheamcintyre.com to get your free training on the 7 biggest sales mistakes that keep you from 7 figures.